Clemenson wanted to see if claims of question docking actually happened historically, not necessarily in the unique case of Trump. So Clemenson analyzed, analyzed the transcript of the 14 presidential debates from 1996 to 2012. Overall, he found 51 accusations of question docking, 26 by Dems, 25 by Republicans. Clemenson. Clemenson wanted to see if claims of question docking actually happened historically, not necessarily in the unique case of Trump. So Clemenson analyzed the transcript of 14 presidential debates from 1996 to 2012. Overall, he found 51 accusations of question docking, 26 by Dems, 25 by Republicans. They controlled for the birth age, sex, body size, and species, and they found that the hunted specimens' brains were actually 5% smaller on average than the brains of birds that died by other means. The surprising thing is that if you make a smaller kind of analysis of livers or heart size, there is absolutely no difference there. No difference there. So this is specific to the brain. They control for the birth age, sex, body size, and species, and they found that the hunted specimens' brains were actually 5% smaller on average than the brains of the birds that died by other means. The surprising thing is that if you make a smaller kind of analysis of liver or heart size, there is absolutely no difference there. So this is specific to the brain. What we found is that the plant is actually damaged by herbivores, like the most plants are in nature, and in response to that, the sewage, the sewage, the sewage, sewage sugar from the wood edge, from the wood, from the wood edge, where the herbivores have damaged the plant. Tobias Lodging is a graduate student at the Field University Berkeley and one of the study authors. What we found is that the plants is actually damaged by herbivores, like most plants in the nature, and in response to that, it secretes sugar from the wood edge, where the herbivores have damaged the plant. Tobias Blotching is a graduate student at Field University Berkeley and one of the study authors. The speaker reminisces the speaker reminisces about his view of the English Revolution when he was a student and how it seemed quite clear which side he was on, the aristocrats, not the Puritans. Later he realized that Jewish was more Jewish than that, and there were several ways of interpreting the revolution, as the struggle between the king and parliament, as a class war, or as an unpredictable situation without clear sides. The speaker reminisces about the his views of the English Revolution when he was a student and how it seemed quite clear which side he was on, the aristocrats, not the Puritans. Later he realized that was more to it than that there were several ways of interpreting the revolution, as a struggle between the king and parliament, as a class war, or as an unpredictable situation without clear sides. Currently, integration is increasingly needed in the business environment. The need emerge the need emerges from the efficiency and synergy requirements necessary in a complex and turbulent environment. In other words, integration is needed to facilitate coordination, which is then related to the building of competitive advantage. Currently, integration is increasingly needed in the business environment. The need emerges from the efficiency and synergy requirements necessary in a complex and turbulent environment. In other words, integration is needed to facilitate coordination, which is again related to the building of competitive advantage. Psychologist Sako Takagi, a graduate student at Tokyo University in Japan, strolls into one of Japan's many cat cafes. These establishments allow customers to pay an hourly fee for the chance to cuddle some cats. They are popular in Japan because so many apartment buildings forbid pet ownership. But Takari isn't a typical customer. She not there for feeling affection, but to prove their mind. To prove, to prove their mind. Prove their mind. Psychologist Saho Takari, a graduate student at Keio University in Japan, strolls into one of Japan's many cat cafes. These establishments allow customers to pay an hourly fee for the chance to cuddle some cats. They are popular in Japan because so many apartment buildings forbid pet ownership. But Takari isn't a typical customer. She's not there for feeling affection, but to prove their minds.
The School of Arts and Design has an open day on Thursday next week.
The Schools about the Design has an open day on Thursday next week.
There are no scheduled classes during the final exam weeks.
The juniors classes during the final exam week.
We would like a first draft of the assignment by Monday.
We would like to have the first draft of the assessment by Monday.
In the last few weeks, we have been looking at various aspects of the social history of London.
In the class next week, we will have been located on the last history of London. So.
Computer software has changed a lot in the last year.
Computer software has changed a lot in the last year.
Extra seminars to be scheduled to assist you with revision.
Extra seminar to be scheduled with the vision.
I think the university's main campus is closed.
I think the university's main campus is closed.
It is important that you work as a team on this project.
It's important if you work as a team in this project.
Many privately owned firms have been eaten up by larger corporations.
Many of the private law firms has been absorbed by the organization.
Newspapers are supported primarily by the sale of advertising space.
Newspapers are supported primarily by the sale of the advertising space. compare sales category, product A, product B, product C, product D, and total, with product values and total of amount. Category 1, Category 2, Category 3, Category 4, Strategy. The picture shows the compare sales strategies. It also provides information about a topic in different aspects including product A, product B, product C, product D, and total in Strategy 1, Strategy 2, Strategy 3, Strategy 4, and Strategy 5. As can be seen from the picture, in Strategy 4 the maximum is product D, which is nearly over 150 product values. On the other hand, for Strategy 5, product D also the minimum one with nearly under 50 product values. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the compare sales strategy between product A, B, C, D, and total. Household expenses. Household expenses in Japan and Malaysia. Other goods and services, housing, transport, food, healthcare, other goods and services. Maximum in Japan is housing with 34%. Minimum in Malaysia is healthcare with 6%. The picture shows household expenses in Japan and Malaysia. It also provides information about a topic in different aspects including housing, transport, food, healthcare, other goods and services. As can be seen from the picture, in Japan the maximum one is housing, which is 34%. On the other hand, in Malaysia, the minimum one is healthcare, which is 6%. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the household expenses in Japan and Malaysia, including housing, transport, food, healthcare, other goods and services. In the other goods and services in the blue colors and healthcare in purple color. Reading achievement break 1 to break 3. Successful reader and struggling readers in fall, winter, and spring. Break 1, break 2, and break 3. Successful reader in break 3 is 120 overall reading fluency in words per minute. The picture shows the reading achievement from break 1 to break 3. It also provides information about the topic in different aspects, including successful readers, struggling readers, fall, winter, spring, and overall reading fluency in words per minute. As can be seen from the picture, successful reader is the maximum one in grade 3 in the string, which is over 120 overall reading fluency in words per minute. On the other hand, struggling reader is the minimum one in grade 1 and in 4, which is under 20. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the reading achievement from grade 1 to grade 3 from fall, winter, and spring. Reason for no longer attending schools between female and male with the personal or family illness, others, obtain employment, and completed studies. Completed study is the maximum one in male, which is 60%. On the other hand, female is the minimum one in the illness, which is 5%. The picture shows the reasons for no longer attending school. It also provides information about the topic in different aspects, including male, female, personal or family, illness, other, obtain employment, and completed studies. As can be seen from the picture, in male completed study is the maximum one, which is 60%. On the other hand, in female the minimum one is illness, which is 5%. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the reasons no longer attending school in male and female with completed studies, personal or family illness, others, obtain employment. Top 10 cities with the most global 500 companies. Tokyo, Paris, Beijing, New York, London, Seoul, Munich, Moscow, Osaka, Zurich, and Toronto. The picture shows the top 10 cities with the most global 500 companies. It also provides information about the topic in different aspects including Tokyo, Paris, Beijing, New York, London, Seoul, Madrid, Munich, Moscow, Osaka, Zurich, and Toronto. As can be seen from the picture, Tokyo is ranked at the top one of the picture, with a maximum in the number of the companies, which is 51 companies. On the other hand, Toronto is the minimum in the number of the companies, which is just 7 companies. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the top 10 cities with the most global 500 companies, including Tokyo, Japan, New York, and London. Percentage of students proficient in a foreign language. A foreign language. China, Romania, Thailand, India, Russia, and Vietnam. In males, between males and females. The picture shows the percentage of students proficient in a foreign language. It also provides information about the topic in different aspects, including males and females in China, Romania, Thailand, India, Russia, and Vietnam. As can be seen from the picture, in India the maximum one is female, which is nearly 70. On the other hand, the male is minimum in the China, which is just over 14. In conclusion, the picture shows important information about the percentage of students proficient in a foreign language between female and males in China, Romania, Thailand, India, Russia, and Vietnam, and males in blue color and females in green color.
But English is definitely not a pure language. English in fact has borrowed from over 350 languages in its history. So it's a variety of many languages. Some people say it's like a dog, a mongrel dog, a dog that has been made up of many different dogs. The English language is like that. By looking at the history of the English language we learn about the history of the English people. The two things are closely connected. So in fact today we are not only learning about language but we are learning about history. The fact that English has borrowed words from over 350 languages has been viewed differently throughout history. So for example in Shakespeare's time people were very angry about words which were not, they thought, original English words, words which came from other languages, they didn't like them. During times of war, for example, World War II, German words, well they tried to remove German words from the English language but as we will see from the lecture today that was very difficult because the basis of English lies in Germanic languages. So it was very hard to remove all German words from the English language. So we are going to go on a journey throughout time, through time, go back 2000 years to the present.
The lecture mainly talks about the histories of English. First of all, English is not easily borrowed from the 350 languages in different 350 languages in the world. Moreover, like the dog means the dog from the Mongolian dogs, and how the English. Is this also when we learn the English, we also learn about the English people, not the English history. And two things we not to say about this is the different views from the 350 views of the languages. And in the World War II, and they tried to remove the German words from the English, but they thought unsuccessfully.
If you keep the young birds separate from their parents during the sensitive period, then they will not later learn to recognize their parents so easily. It has to happen at a predetermined period. The other thing that's unusual is that young birds will learn to follow the first large moving object they see, and it doesn't have to look like their parents. This learning process just latches on very rapidly to the first large moving object they see, and if the first moving object they see is not their parent, they wouldn't print to that and treat it as if it was a parent like this. This gentleman here is called Konrad Lorenz. He was a very famous biologist, and he discovered imprinting. He lived on a farm in Austria. He had a lot of chicks and goslings, and he discovered that if he hatched young goslings out in an incubator, that is he put the eggs in warm place so they would hatch out without parents sitting on them. Then, he was the first thing these young birds saw when they hatched out. They learned to behave to him as if he was their parent. They followed him around, they nestled up to him. Fortunately, he was a kind man, so he fed them and looked after them.
The lecture mainly talk about the young bird. First of all, the young birds will not follow the parent if they not recognize them in the long time, and this depends on the term of the period. And moreover, if the young bird will follow the first moving object if they see this at the first time. For moreover, this also talk about a gentleman, a famous biologist. He separated a young bird with their parents, and for the young birds to see him, and then the young birds will follow him all the time and behave private like him. But he also the catchman and he look after and feed the young birds carefully. In conclusion, the talk about the young bird's parents and the moving object.
They point to the fact, and I showed you the British example, that people are starting to see themselves more cosmopolitanly, in essence as people who are citizens of the world rather than national citizens. They argue that the nation is still important but it's being hollowed out, and some of its functions are moving. So economic policy is moving to the World Trade Organization. Lots of our governments, many of your governments are members of the World Trade Organization, and this organization implements rules and implements them, which shape our policies and our economic policies with other countries. This has important effects for all of us. I am not going into the ins and outs of that now, but it is important.
The lecture mainly talks about the global citizen. First of all, let's talk about some of the example. People now they looking for the citizen of the world, not the national citizens. And then some function will be changed, such as the economic policy will be changed. And some of the governments around of the countries as the member of the some trade organizations. They will change the role and change the economic policy follow with the trade of the national, the international organizations. In conclusion, the lecture talk about the citizen of the world, not the national citizen, and the function in economic policy.
There's a very strong interaction between nutrition and infection, and we've learnt this from developing countries where there is famine and poor nourishment. So if you're undernourished, it will lead to a weaker immune system, and it will make you more susceptible to infection with a pathogen. But the infection itself will lead you to become undernourished, and that means that you have a weaker immune system, and so on. So there is a vicious cycle between nutrition and infection, which is particularly a problem in developing countries. In the next slide I want to expand on that a little bit more.
The lecture mainly talk about the relationship between the nutrition and the infection in developing countries. First of all, we can learn this from the in the developing countries. The circle about they develop the immune system and the infections. Moreover, it's also when we try in the body we have the immune system and the infection. If the infection would like to come to the body, they have to break the immune system. And later on in the conclusion, it talks about the so-called of the nutrition and the infections boosted in the developing countries.
How many years are there in a millennium?
1,000 years. 1,000 years.
What is the time period before noon called?
I don't know. I don't know.
What are the people that plant food and raise crops commonly known as?
Agriculture. Agriculture. Agriculture.
Which is the longest? A decade, a millennium or a century?
Millennium. Millennium. Millennium.
Science concerns about study of each materials and nutrient is geology or geography.
Psychologist. Psychology. Psychology.
What can vegetarians eat?
Vegetable. Vegetable. Vegetable.
Which one has radius and circumference?
Conference. Conference. Conference.
Which is not the way of public transportation? Train, model car, or aeroplane?
Motor car. Motor car. Motor car.
A great lover of books.
Great lover of book. Reader. Readers. Readers.
Art and science dealing with rules of language, grammar or literature.
Literature. Literature.